At the end, you press that.
Okay.
Lose.
Thus I have heard. At one time, the Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of Vulture Peak Mountain, with a great gathering of monks and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the samadhi of the many aspects of phenomena called profound appearance. At the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, saw the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Then, through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to the noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, how should a son of a lineage trained who wishes to follow the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom? Thus he spoke, and the noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva answered the Venerable Shariputra with these words. Shariputra, those men and women of the lineage who wish to follow the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should look at it like this. The five skandhas should be seen purely in their natural emptiness. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form also is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are emptiness, and having no characteristics, they are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no phenomena. There is no quality of sight and so on, until no quality of mind and no quality of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no exhaustion of ignorance, and so on, until no old age and death and no exhaustion of old age and death. In the same way, there is no suffering, no origin, no ending, and no path. No wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, since there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide by means of the profound perfection of wisdom. And since their minds have no obscurations, they have no fear. Transcending falsity, they attain nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times have relied upon the perfection of wisdom, and have become true and complete Buddhas of unsurpassable, perfect, and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the profound perfection of wisdom, the mantra of insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for it is not deceptive. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Teyata om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhi soha. Shariputra, this is how a bodhisattva mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and said to the bodhisattva mahasattva, noble Avalokiteshvara, that he had spoken well. Well done, O son of the lineage, it is so. O son of the lineage, since it is just so, the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will also rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, and the entire gathering, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, asuras, and gandharvas, rejoiced and praised the words of the Blessed One.
Jame yana jazelo kage lodre dene ted neda namdara savi jene de go jeje Nije Dogan Levande, Kanda Sebe Tere Mar, Medo Dunga Jidewe, Roto Kula Paje Tat, Yala Druju Yang Deso, Chedo Nimo Nilo, Leje Jado Jodeje, Mare Meze Dunga Nyugo, Chene Jende Radena, Dene Taji Sachu Tase, Yede Ludo Jase Kavyako, Chara Jodan June Jed, Dalo Meze Jambe Yanando, Arabadana De, O Arabadana De, O Arabadana De. Cheravse dalo demu mabarasane kada denju yulu tobaye lodu bobe nawata doso chonje medo ran jera lenye ninde jema Sanje Shindo Munde Pwaye, Droge Namda Shenla Chubayo. Tamba Chena Je, Juge Kala Chende Chichine, Cheda Tambe Duje Zemala, Deje Chuje Chaba Vato. Rana Mendala Ganaya Dayame Soje Jonala Jaju Bardo Dane Jazuji Dage Juji Jibe Tonaji Rola Pinjira Sanji Rubajo Chodan Doje Jonala Jaju Bardo Dane Jazuji Dage Juji Jibe Tonaji Rola Pinjira Sanji Rubajo Chodan Doje Jonala Janju Barado Dane Chasoji Dage Juji Jibe Sonamji Rola Benjira Sanji Rubarajo Tango Kasi Tsangde Dage Lutan, Lonjotan, Giwa Tuson Chebana, Sije Kula Tangwatan, Teson Taba Peos, Ataba Sonzimbe, Kuche, Ineda, Kazimunzo, Chanchu Lion, Loten Cha, Sea Korea, and Musin Quade Shibari, Musin Quade, and Muso, Jundu Manga Dumutane, and Rotante Shibari, and Gazi Chizu Toti, Yuma Shizu Tani, and Dayan Yamji Tani, Chanjo Sejon Quade, Makana Yimitor Toti, Yuma Tatari, Jundu Manga Dumutane, Chanjo Sejon, Rimbadi Shizimi Kuchi, Nidudovich. Tatari Dayan Yamji Tani, and Chanjo Sechesu Quade, Nidu Shuagan Besiche.
So we're on the fourth,
Speak up just a little bit.
on the fourth verse, giving away to all sentient beings, your body, your positions, and your fruit, game in the past, present, and future, and protecting, purifying, and enhancing this. So this is the verse that we have briefly discussed during our previous teachings. And let's go back to this verse taken with the last line of verse taken, which is and the fifth on awakening, which suggests the practice of bodhicitta. So practicing bodhicitta here To begin with, practice of bodhichitta is with first, it suggests the practice of aspiring bodhichitta, which will then be followed by the practice of engaging bodhichitta. And so when it comes to the practice of engaging bodhichitta, we have already covered the practice of bodhichitta in accordance with sevenfold cause and effect. And now today, I will be briefly speaking on the practice of bodhichitta, the instructions based on exchanging, equalizing and exchanging self with others.
Dandi Jashon Tony Mayundagi, Chanchu Sing Jubadawati, Nire, Dajinamju Tony Chanchu Sichi, Jurumanga Dimitoni, Ane Chanchu Senchi Nije, Deni de Ya, Punda Tundana, Ane Tumido Tumachum Dindelaya Tundraje, Tumido Tumachum Dini Majuba the Kano Younger Natani, Karsaway, Tene, Judin Jambeani, Ma Juni Jubachi, Tene Judy Chambango Mani Ma Jubachi, Ni to Suyunguere, Jazan, Judin Manga Dumak or the Ane Tumachum Dini, Judy Chambango Boche, Teni Ma Juni Yung de Chiche, Tene Dajin Yamji ko de Tumachum Dini, and Judin Jambeang, Teni Ma Ane Juni, Gumburudu, or the Legend Margin, Yondia, Jubani Yondan to say.
So there are two sets of instructions of practicing bodhichitta, stemming from two different lineage groups. Suddenly, the actual teaching is actually given by the Buddha himself, and the instructions on the sevenfold cause and effect instructions given by the Buddha, then followed by the lineage gurus of Maitreya, Asanga, and so forth. And the instructions on exchanging, equalizing and exchanging self with others, instructions is given by the Buddha to the lineage gurus of profound view, known as Manjushri, Nagarjuna, and so on.
Then do Janjun Rich Motonone, Daginam Jukatama, Soyun Sambo, Chevale Shona Teni, and then Dagina Jukatama, Soyun do. Then do Tazo, Chevale Shona Teni, the Tazo, Junju, and my younger, that Junju de Ramole, Susan Barendo, Chazan, Junju, Liu Jeba, Sandy Liu Zonolia, no Zonde Soyun do, Chazan Tenu. Tatenashik Junjuki, Tsikaiji Tini, and Dagin Yamji Kodma, and Dishana Tetos, Jedani Chimbuki, Richimosononia, Shivala Shola Teni, and Ma, Sumanashi, and Mozog Motetina, and Shivala Shon, Junjuki Tsikaira Teni, and Daginaji Kodma, or Nidishajet.
The stages of the path to enlightenment or the learning channel by Lama Tsongkhapa. The instructions on the exchanging with self with others is given on the basis of Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life by Shantideva. So it is therefore, I will be introducing this practice, the instructions of this practice of exchanging self with others based on Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life.
That Tomongole Dajen Yam Jes and me the Dajen Yam Jes. 다신 냠제세 특구론 갈라고나 다세데 소설 거그래 셴제데 랑리 셴베 에는 강사인다 참말이야 셴스라고 그래 다다 셴스 마당 콘조세는 어떠나시 다예니체 다다예니 냥그래서 그래 다예니 냠세다 간다지 냥그러나 제 zubo 체중 냥그르슬라고 야 말에 주변주 체중 냥그르슬라고 야 말에 카도 장에 단지 이상 단다게 냥그르스 칼라고 야 말이라 또 냐야 게 야 말에 근데 다시 냠세데 나이난다 아니 ngali shembe ki kansa kanti chi na yang kanti chi nang kana na dewa nduenge ta dunga mende pa nyangpa re shaa sakwara tsamate rangye tsamate ane dechen nduenge yinpa ta dunga mende pa yinpa de an tsama tsumpa re nduwa te tsama nyanga duwa sawa tosi la goya re.
So first of all, I think if I begin with what is meant by exchanging self with others. As we all know the self, which is self refers to oneself, and of course the others is someone who is other than oneself. So when we talk about exchanging self with others, equalizing self with others, because we're not talking about equal in terms of physical body, in terms of how we look, in terms of wealth, fame, and so on. So in this context, when we talk about equalizing self with others, is we, self and all other beings are equal in terms of desiring for it, achieving happiness and overcome sufferings. That is what is meant by equalizing self with others. Whether oneself or other sentient beings, regardless of who they are, what is equal between oneself and that of all other beings is to having a genuine desire to achieve happiness and overcome suffering. That is what is meant by equal in terms of achieving happiness and overcome suffering.
Oja tena yendu tango zo rangi suanda jina yang che dechen dunga changchang chi mato ane dunga me dunga changchang rwa marzo chuden chinga chi ina yang chuden chi ya tsama de sozo le ya chi dechen da chi yuwa ki to chuden chi ya tang mongpo chi le chungwa chi ya ki tsuenpe ane pake chi si sa tang ki tsuenpe sozo da chi le na tsa mo yuwa rwa tenda ki ngungwa chi ya ki tsuenpe mongpo yi nang di kar tsama de ka na sozo dunga ji yung kare ya sang teba ngwa ta ki tene chuden che de kado wa chi sa tene yendu tsama de ane rangye tsama dechen dunga yinpa tang dunga me dewa yinpa tsumpa che yina yang ta dechen dewa yina dechen rutang ki chane ane dhamira yung de kare chi sa dunga me dewa yina yang dunga de kandra sapa chi ngwa ta cha tang kwa le ya tene ngonzo dhamira mambo yung de kado wa chi sa tene yendu 다 대전 되바다 동안 만데 봐 임바 춤바 있나야 아니 대주 주다다 아니 집에 동아 뭐 용한 거 지당 거데 아니 마다 차용 거래.
So as oneself and all other sentient beings are equal in terms of having a genuine desire to achieve happiness and overcome suffering. So it is for this reason we put a lot of efforts, exerting effort to engage in all kinds of actions, such as taking care of one's own health, and receiving educations, and all kinds of things that we are doing, all kinds of activities that we may are actually engaging is to achieve happiness and overcome suffering. So this is all what we were doing. Even if we eat food, we are being very careful with that. It is not good for one's health. That means ultimately, although you are just saying it's not good for your health, but that means you don't want to be suffer. You're have a genuine wish to overcome sufferings. It is therefore we're very careful with one's food and even eating foods and so forth. So we're very careful with our diet. So now the question is, even though that we all have genuine desire to achieve happiness, are we really engaging in actions that become a cause which gives rise to happiness? Or are we really engaging in actions of the body, spirit, and mind that really becomes a cause for overcoming our sufferings? So this need to be asked. This is a question that needs to be asked to oneself.
야, 나한테는 인도 대체도 동하게 아니 지방에 조주다 로바데 아니 준주는 가서나 지대 대화 전에 봤더니 시된들이 좀스 단 지대기 대화 가서지 대체 간다지 네바이네 도데 아니 예된들이 좀 말해서 어떠선도 이제 동에 전에 봤더니 라덴들이 좀스 어떤데 지금 봤더니 이제 이나 말한서 ran deche ndewa na chi deche dudan na kana ane ran chi banze she ya wa to o tende ji chane ane ran deche soya ge che to ane yenda ji ba so jwe na ara yen tu ze she na ara o tende ji ne kanda she ya wa to ran deche yo ge che to she ane pur jan to se je yon be kala ya ane yen de so de ji drawing be kure de ina tungele 소소 돌자대 정도 자상 모두 대체 로고고이나 소소게 대체 용도데 셴라 때니 용고여를 때네 인도 아니 라야와도 이제 기본 저고여 때 단답하는 거는서 랑 대체 초야 쳐도 랑 기본 제 셴야와도 이제를 때니 아니 가서 대진되어 있나요 대체 준소데 치마지기 루마시 있니 다 하대 또 심바라
So Gayatri Bodhisattva's way of life where he stated that all the suffering that we are undergoing or we are experiencing is due to the cherishing for the one's own self. And all the happiness that we may experience is coming into being due to endeavoring to work to for the welfare of other sentient beings. So this is how we should, how we should accustom ourselves with actions of working for the welfare of others, working for the welfare of other sentient beings, and reducing the cherishing of self or the self-cherishing mind. So for us at this point, if you look at ourselves, examine carefully ourselves, although we do have a genuine desire to achieve happiness and overcome sufferings, but whatever we do is based on self-cherishing mind. It is therefore we are unable to achieve happiness that we seek to achieve. And we are unable to accumulate a cause that really gives rise to happiness and overcome sufferings. Because everything we do is really stemming from our self-cherishing mind. Regardless of what we do, we always bring I and self on the basis of this fixation, we can carry on our actions. That really becomes, instead of cause of happiness, it becomes a cause of suffering.
다들 인도 것도 이제 대화진이 되게 예전들이 좋은 사나지게 당으로도 대지 되고요나 아니 주소라던데다 좋았다니 아니 라야와도 이제 집어 송고고요. 자도 대지 용도대 신라 라레데 차고 되는 줄이야. 그런도 도서 신주로 제게는 소소 제자야레 동야레 고야레 대사 컴레 소소레 군고 강하여 바참아데 파 신주 젠로나 아니 신가 까들레 때니 용대 장장치 말도 카도 상담 소소가 리가 제샤이 문제차이 말한게 걸리지니 조차이 상상도 보지 그거 되네요 파신주 야보 젠로이나 소소 리가 제비가 리가 제사가 요 내가 제비 나니더니 소소 토야가 라차 저도 참아대 신은 진짜 장장 용대 신 란리 신비 신메나 라니 칼리카즈 자네 요하게 요마로 진짜네 이제 소소기 지칼리 잡아이나 간다 소소리야 집하고 저기 내말로서 봐가 요마 탐지 어느 또 신을 때니 용구야지 신가 가질 때니 용구야 어때네 이도다 신이야 신야와 도랑 기반데 되어이나 아니 공원에서 소소 매 연달이야 저 통화마 저지 전리 장자저 정말 친절히 되는 장제 되어나 아니 타는 소소 내가 제사야 제 내가 저 쇼도야 어때나 그러니 제 소소 강에 티베컬 신을 제사메 베존다 아니 프로메 개장 루용베컬 아니 강에 뭐 태용도 와 근데 이제 소소 제 강된된도 같이 용화 제발라 안 소소마 연을 할래도 소소 아니 ran ziyade torgore ane yenki banze gore yes otos kin yongore
So now, as we discussed earlier about what Shantideva stated in his cultural verses of life, it is now time for us to transform our mind. Try to make ourselves a little bit of change. Although the change will not take place overnight, because this self-cherishing mind is accustomed with us, or we are familiarized with this self-cherishing mind from the beginning of this time up until now. It is not easy for us to get rid of this self-cherishing mind overnight. However, if we put in effort and try to find the faults of the self-cherishing mind, once you are able to find the real faults of self-cherishing mind, then disenchantment regarding self-cherishing mind will arise in one's mind. This will then diminish further of our self-cherishing mind when we see the fault of the self-cherishing mind. It is really important to think about carefully. If we examine very carefully, we should always neglect all sentient beings who are also cherishing themselves. So if you look at ourselves, everything that we have right now, such as food, clothing, shelter, and the job that we have for our survival, we might think that, well, I'm working and I'm independent. I earn money, it's all myself. I think in that way. But everything that we have is really depending on others. Just think about, just think about the shirt that we are wearing right now. If you really think very carefully, the numerous people that's involved in producing these shirts, and without being others, even that you may have a job or have the money, without depending upon others, there's no way that we can achieve anything. So this is how we should always be aware and try to accustom one's mind with cherishing and cherishing the welfare of other sentient beings, working for the welfare of other sentient beings. Because at this point, it is due to our strong and intense self-cherishing mind. It really blocks the pathway of the arisal of all this happiness within us. So therefore, now it is a time for us to reverse our thought processes. Instead of self-cherishing, one should, embrace the cherishing of the welfare of other sentient beings and try to reduce the self-cherishing mind and finally uproot the self-cherishing mind. If one is able to do that, then what is happiness that we are looking for and happiness that we long to achieve is possible.
제가다 이제 동에 지내봐 되게 randen들이 좋았어. 생이박들다 동에 용단의 시작도 제가 말로서 동에 용대한테 안에 ran진지 슈차타니 용대고 요래서 그래. 당연히 되는 제라 하는 걸 신주지야도 소소 ran진지 슈침보 제가가스 안에 말아서 자와치 뭐 싶지 제제 야와도 안데나 왕기 지 소소를 리는 주역 체도 예는 거고 따야다 자주 시야다 어디나 왕기지 안에 도저히 시야다 어디나 몸보 제다 안에 갈래야 지어 로봇도 좀 노노로야 안에 담에다만 소소 개장을 하요야 안에 제세 예 가야매 받던 데지 라용 백걸에더니 마소소 지박에 셈매져 왕기더니 르메데가 용대야 어도진도 동서 도세 신주지나 고 무에서 대쇼는 수만나 희지 뭐 통토야지 잔도
So here as guided Buddha like stated that all the sufferings that we experience are coming into being due to the self-cherishing mind. It is really, if we really examine carefully, all this unhappiness, uneasiness, distractions are all coming into being due to the self-cherishing mind. Because at the moment, because we are unaware of how the self-cherishing mind is actually, affecting us or infecting us. So we, for one's own happiness, we do all kinds of things. In the worst case, we deceive others. We have a contemptuous attitude towards others, looking down to others, and belittling others. It is all to gain happiness for oneself. In reality, it is the opposite of it. One will not be able to gain happiness out of that. But we do that anyway, out of ignorance. If one is always remaining under the control of these negative thoughts and emotions, the self-cherishing mind, so selfish, becoming so selfish. And even in our day-to-day life in our common human society. If someone who is being so selfish, and such person will be disliked by all other people, all their friends and families, even the families, then end up being alone by oneself and undergoing suffering of loneliness. So this is really true if you really examine yourself very carefully. Self-cherishing mind is the root cause of all our sufferings.
Chasandama don't be jam because now you change much car son de na rajuna ne yele pento chegres ane yele pento chematone shel ne chejo mare sondwa ta de ngo tami go don kichimo jere jona so so yele ya pento cheto ta ane yele pento cheto ne revre ane yele pento chematone ne ba mche ta ni pa nango jere.
So in brief, as His Holiness always encourages, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama encourages all of us to, if possible, at best, says, one should always help others. If that is not possible, one should at least refrain from harming others. That's a very, very profound advice.
다 이해는 편도 제도들라 진짜만 뭐보 주요래 얘네다 그 시복이 편도 제마도에나 이해리야 소소 지 난조야 보지 때마도에나 난조야 보지 때 근데 계절님 보지 마도 시마도에나 계절님 보지 근데 지 갱고한테 야 라마도 괜찮냐 라마도 괜찮냐 야랑으로 쓰지지 근데 랑간 좀 미싱이 되네 집가 랑된 쓰지지야 어떤데 다 소소 지 현을 편도 정해 지비 차네 소소문이 강요 지우지는 되고 타기도 된다지 편도 제고는 된다지 제나 편도 레다 말세기 이와게 말 소소문이 아니 제거도 거들이야 편도 제사가 요간다지 쳐와 있나요 엔텔이야 소소문이 강도 지도 편도 지는 되고 그래 제 랑가 미싱이 제 랑가 때 지는 되고 그래 야 라마도 제 야랑로 지는 되고 그래 어때다 때쯤에 소소문이 니바 강요게 편도지는 되고 그러마도 타지도 편도들의 제고를 세하게 챙기셔서 개매를.
So when we talk about working for the welfare of other sentient beings or having other sentient beings, there is no certain limit of helping other beings. There are all kind of helps that we can render, to other sentient beings. Even giving them a genuine smile, not just an artificial, showing your teeth and so on, but rather right from the depth of your heart, it's just lovingly and kind. Just try to manifest the kindness on your face and give them a smile. That is the real smile, the smile. Sorry, and then also help people who are maybe needed some money, just one or even a penny is helpful for others. You can do it from the depth of your heart. It doesn't matter what that means. Whatever the help that you can render. And there are people who may need your physical help. You may need mental help. They may need foods and clothing and so on and so forth. Whatever the help that you can help others. There are no such limit. There are numerous ways of helping others, but this help should be unconditional, always unconditional. And there shouldn't be any obligations of when you are actually doing so. It is pure-hearted help will really give you a joy, not just a pleasure, but joy.
jide dewa chini ba teke jidun dure chung, jide dunga chini ba teke randun dure chung sayagita, pesun chung chung rupa chi, pena chali jana shuwa ina, ta pama chiba ka pugu ni yuwa ina ya, ane pugu nimbo teke, chigi pami kali ya, nemboje pami ki tene jibage karalawa na tsuyin to dungi je bugu jige yang pami ki kaan laba de kal manenge entele dosha li dingi ji yinba ina ane pami ki kaan laba na hi ne dingi bugu tala ya pami ngune senda newa tena hi ki je labja ina ya maa jaya tena hi ki je pama ngune jo penjo de to yowa ina samade ane bugu tala ba jinya ki tsuyenbe maa tenda yung degi dowa jazang 다 밤에 갈 menenge dinane pamangweni na jibage senta rin roya ndabo jada rin roya ta ente na ji keja ya nur roya nanjo tsunjini duja tenya ane pe je pama ta kangjo khatin roya o tenda yuni kang yung de do jizo jada ko pame kala ya bo ne ane pame le shaju ya bo do tenda jingi pugu de so je pamangweni ya lota nye bo je ane zaya tuya kuya desa kanje tone pame ki tos kodru chen bukara soso la kange meba ani chende lonsu juya ndrabo tena yungu duwa chasa pe chunju jane tena ki chison dewa yorda.
So, even if you take one example of being selfish or too much remaining under the control of our self-cherishing mind, as I mentioned earlier, that even our friends and families will dislike us eventually. Even our parents, let's take an example. There are two children in one family from the same parents, and one is so selfish and egoistic and completely remaining under the control of self-cherishing mind. Another is, although there might be a certain level of self-cherishing, selfishness, but it's in comparison to other child, he or she is less selfish. Then such child who has less selfishness will be loved and embraced by their parents, even the parents. Even if there's two kids are from the same parents, but based on their behaviors and their way of thinking and the way of doing the behaviors really makes a difference. The way they actually take care of you, such as as one's parents and so on. So therefore, self-cherishing mind is not only that annoys or actually keep a distance from others, but also it will make a distance even with one's own parents.
Tadana yigi junju nalaya madong ro kar jagor na mando shete chishi ki jibar rangi tunje ta tuba yinje tunje ban deni chen cheba tuyes pena mambo shegu kemendu pena ane jiba zo ane rangi tun zo rugu do as ane tuba chumden dege shende zo nze do as tene yindu ane teni ki chebar tuyna hago do asumbare chazan jiba zayade ngudu pogu chunju lagware chazan 다 간도 보고 충주 나다 간다 소소가 상로 땅초도 보고 충주가 상로 나시 인딩은 절이야 집어서라고 해래 나중에도 용라가 집어서 보고 충주를 고고 여러 이나 간데 집어서 해야 지 보고 체중게 시고 말 상로 체중 로제 체중 상로도 보고 충주가 상로 나시 명은 절에 집어서라고 해 제가 어느 상로 걸어도 어떻게 네 randu tso dhugu dhuwa se, shen yawa to rang jiban tsugu yoro wa se. Ane tubi chumden degi, tele doa te rang yawa to ne ye jiban tsugu wa se. Tati na yidu, tanda chali ya tuba chumden degi netan chikta, soso ka netu chikta ta, teni cheba kanando. Rang jiban tsuna yawandu ka, ye jiban tsuna yawandu, tel teni, shitu achire wa se, o to sumayir.
So then also the same text by the Shantideva guide to the Buddhist side also apply, but it's needed that, it is the childish who always cherished himself, and the Buddha who cherished welfare of other sentient beings. Now, if you look at the situation, the childish who always cherished himself, and the Buddha who worked for the welfare of other sentient beings, if you look at the situation, who is in better situation? That's what he made the comparison. So now it says here the childish, we are not really talking about the child. We are talking about the way of thinking. A narrow-minded, self-cherishing, and self-cherishing mind that really underpin our entire thoughts and emotions. And that is what is meant by childish here, referring to the childish. So therefore, if one let one's mind remaining under the domination of this self-cherishing mind, and regardless of how genuine the desire that you may have to achieve happiness, then the genuine happiness will not possible. It's not possible.
tende tone tene ngozo ta sozo ta sa ta wa na sozo yan ma te ba sozo ngene je sozo choya ga to le ga kare che ando shinju je na ka ya me ba ne je je sozo choya ga che do kan de je tenje du go na je yan dan di ni shen le ten ni je go ya je ma de shen le chu ni ma te ba shen ga ka de la ma te ba rang yu ji bo ni ka ge che me ba ten de je da ten du ta ta na ma de te ni chu ta ne she wa na 지금도 장주게 세제 그런 신을 때니 제고야 대응도 되는 니제 첨보다 더더이나 신을 때니 에 랑주 제고야 되는 인도 아니 타나 산지주 고방 토발라 바게 지연을 때니 용고야 또 신을 때니 용고야 어떤 인산에 랑다 예니데 예 개체와 예가드 체와 어떤 데서니 아니 So
now just think about our very survival is really dependent upon others. It is really true, everything that we have right now and who we are right now are all dependent upon others. It is not that independent at all. You are surviving. We are surviving here as a human beings, and we stand here, and who we are is not independently happening. It is dependent upon others. Think about our parents, especially think about our mother. When the mother gave you the birth, when she gave us a birth, we are just a helpless little creature. She can dump anywhere she wanted, but she didn't do so. We survived under the loving and kind care of our mother. We're able to, stand on our own feet. It's all dependent upon others. It is really true, because we don't think that much. Whenever we think about what we have, what we do, is we always think, it is me who I did. This is me. Whatever the attributes or accomplishment that we may have accomplished, and so on, are all think about I am the one who did that. But we don't think of others. Without depending upon others, it is not possible for us anything to achieve. Period. Speaking from the Dharma standpoint, the spiritual standpoint, especially the Buddhist point of view, the very core practice of the core Buddhist practice is dependent upon others. Think about compassion, practice of tolerance, patience, bodhichitta. Without depending upon others, there's no way that we can perfect our practice of patience or tolerance, especially, and then compassion, bodhicitta, and then finally to the state of enlightenment. It's all dependent upon others. So therefore, cherishing the welfare of other sentient beings is not just a plain, unjustified statement. It has a very strong reasoning behind it if you really think carefully.
Adine ma dagi je go ko so yin bigala chunju na la da de yin che dunga ta ya da je wa ma che na san jin ne chang mru na ko na ya de wa mes cha da 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 shen ne da ge de wa ta shen je dunga ni de tos je ne ma che wa ina ane de yang pe yang ta ba je ma je wa ina ane san ji ko ma to ya je pa yu shas ko na de we kai ne ya ane de wa yo ma res oto song do.
So therefore, then again, the same text guided process of life that's stated that if one is unable to understand the practice of exchanging self with others, let alone that one gains state of enlightenment, one will not even have a happiness in secular existence.
Chedan da yin nyam je de mena sanji ko mo tha me bi char da ran ya wa to yin ji ba man na na bi chin she de ge ten to de se de yu me bare chedan na bi chin she de ge ten to de wa ji so so ton de yo wa ina ane ran ya wa to yin ji ba zia ga lan te ga lan bro na ma to te ga na ma lo pa la ane yin tha ye me ba ta re.
So especially in the Buddha Dharma, according to the Buddha Dharma, if one is unable to get rid of the self-cherishing mind, then state of enlightenment is not possible at all, period.
Chazan, ta dagi je sayate dinajir kogore, tanda padale yang ranzo rang jibanze, shen yawa todiya ki jiyorwa. Chazati tarini jinte jibo jagin sagore, ta dagi jewa na jibo jagin, jine jagin yes. Ta tarini zutenge yen jibanze ki rang yawa togi yes. Ta ngarang tenda de zo sungmi, zo shen tenda de zo sungmi yes, shen tenda de zo sungmi. 초도 딱이 있어. 말하고 된다데 저 중에 미 초도 딱이 미에서 왔다. 받은 것도 신지반데 라야와 도와도 때 도와대 랑지반데 예야와도 용들어와. 다 단단 것도 가르쳐 버려. 소소를 크든 되지 못하면 매로 다들 다들 랑간다만 소도 노르샤스. 다들이 존에 안에 랑야와도네 예지바 중에 예스네. 어두지네 고산로 땅초대
So here now again, once again, what is meant by exchanging self with others is reversing our thoughts, thought processes. Because up until now, we we cherish ourselves and neglecting the work of other sentient beings. Now we need to reverse these thoughts, and henceforth, I must put effort to reducing my self-cherishing mind and try to enhance and develop cherishing for the work of other sentient beings. That is what is meant by exchanging self with others.
다들 인도 랑기 대진 용조데 아니 시행 카드테네 용데 된다 인조상 아니 예스자 담제 랑래 아장 카드 침보 임바당 안데네 인도 예스자 담제 안바게 rani ki tini sanji kopana ya ongo ki yesa tengo ba jawala alenguna rani tengo tuya ki en nipa yungichi gugu yusun tang ane rani kyun kuzi yuden kwende ji macha pade yensa jatanji sanji salaya nguyo tuya ki tahimado tanda yindu yensa jatanji sanji salaya nguyo ki chedo ane rani kyun kuzi yuden kwende ji sanji kopana taba chegi yesa tanda ki ta sen juwa mayin baja ranjuli chi yungu karaya ane dagi namje ku jisela teni ane janju ku sen jeba asna tanda jindu kumeno.
So by thinking about that, all that we have right now is all dependent upon others. And everything that we have, in other words, one's pleasure, experience, and happiness, and so on, are all dependent upon others. Including one's food, shelter, clothing, and so on and so forth, are all dependent upon others. So now, by realizing that, just think about it. I must always be mindful of the kindness of all other sentient beings. And I will do whatever I could to engage in the practice of cherishing, exchanging self with others, to gain complete state of enlightenment for the benefit of all other sentient beings. So at this point, I'm not in a position where I can establish all other beings to the state of complete happiness, or the lasting happiness, or state of ultimate happiness. But I must do whatever I could to overcome all those flaws or the faults that I have. In other words, my afflictions, the mental afflictions. By uprooting all these mental afflictions, I must gain all the qualities that can simultaneously work for the welfare of other sentient beings. How wonderful it would be if I'm able to achieve such a state so that I can establish all beings to the state of complete enlightenment.
How about the try?
That's it. We can take some questions.
So my question is about how people practice bodhichitta. So I feel there's two situations for poor people and rich people. They probably, they practice simple bodhichitta, but because of the wealth difference, they might have different level of bodhichitta. Like poor people, their lack of wealth, so they don't have enough food. So maybe they couldn't practice bodhichitta as good as the rich people. Not necessarily rich people, but have enough wealth to support himself to go on this journey. So my question is there a difference between people practice for people who have different wealth? Is there a difference between the practice?
수수 전주 승비 연내 제비 가고요 송도 전주 승 연내 제비 가고요 전주 승 연내 지경라니 지경 벤조 이천이 맞아 벤조 내다 맞을 맞을 찬이 나 전주 승 연내 제가 맞을 연수에 맞아야지 아니지 그거를 빼려셔야 미야 지 사동 공부인데봐. 지 사동 강에 되는 데를 자주 생명의 자야. 나고 되게 마상으로 처음 왔어. 근데 아직 사동 다다에 되게 저의 미래야 자주 생명의 자는 꼭 양내치 대하다. 그래서 거야. 저희等的 수수양的지鸟口人的지 초회를 강에 시가 영화 봤어. 이 손상 그 강에 매야들 진짜 거기에 자주 생명의 제배나 되게 자주 생명의 제는 그 강에 매야를 바시트 누가 농거 서로 도도 내나서
ore ta chojin yin de ngi pas ke yo mara a penjo tunjen zong da ma zong ne le a chang ju se a penjo yeng e de ya ga jin no yor sa na bo tunjen ya yor sa de she to pe me be sa de je ta zo chang ju ge se na le jo bo ka za khu ro ge ngwe ni zo chang ju se jong to le ya shebe ge kar sa bo da ji 소속은 더 친분으로 보셔서 그래. 어때는 기 친분으로 보지 등이나 아니 사야 동안 거야게 등jel에 뒤서시라요 말에 배나 때나 망보여래. 이제 말았다라 소바 때나게 배네 타부라나야 되니 지 가르쳐서 또시 마대와 장지 된들 때니 자주그 세준다. 자주스 줄 찡이 뭐 되래 자네. 마도 자야 동안 거야 대사 때는 tunjin 뭐 영에 그 장주스 줄 제대는 노노래 요 말도 쓰고 요 말도 하죠 노노래 제가 사야 통해 거야 뜻어데 장주스 나는 나만 나게 지나 응가체는 도와지 마도 tunjin 도와 가버래 제가 장주 생존은 나는 나만 징이 지나 다 제가 또 주님이 또 그렇게 가버려 왔대 간다 뜰 뜻이 싫어요 말해 좋아 지 뜸에도 좀 된데 거니 zi sonor teni langlu de nambarawa. Chazang chogo tos na yin langan ro, ane jibage chogo jaa tsanchi, toshi maa teo tsan chung na, ane tuse kanyi bada yongzo, chanju se jong tuse ro tanyare mato chige, tene nga desa kamba go, chagudu, sek tene ge, kema teso de, chanju se jong nane nama chingi chi na, teso de nga chin tsikara mato, tunji tsikara mato.
So it's entirely depends on the individual him or herself. And it doesn't really matter whether he or she is rich or he or she is poor. When it comes to the practice of bodhichitta. So someone who has really received the pure instructions of the bodhichitta and who really found benefits of the practice of bodhichitta, then such individual doesn't really need any work at all.
Any work?
Well, if you think of a lot of other great beings, most of those good practitioners have lived his life, poorly, in other words, worldly life, in other words. Just take the simple example that we all know about is the great practitioner, Milarepa, who lived in a cave throughout his practice. Ever since he started practicing, received his teaching from his teacher, and then ever since he started his practice, he lived in a cave, and then there's nothing that he owns except, it's a clay pot. The clay pot that is used for his food, or whatever it is, that this is the wealth that he has. Whatever is the most wonderful practitioner, bodhichitta, whatever. This is one of the examples that who gain the state of enlightenment within the life, within the brief lifetime, within single lifetime. So, so then here is not really to do with practicing bodhichitta. It should come from one's heart. It is nothing to do with the world, whether he has or not. Just think about the Buddha Shakyamuni. Even the Buddha, during his lifetime, Buddha has no wealth at all. He was, there's no certain place where he can own at his palace or his monasteries. He just, it is, um, he lived like a nomad life, going from one way to another, one place to another, keep changing his place, and keep based, relying on alms or just, the begging. That's how the Buddhist bhikshus or the monks carry their begging bowls. And that's enough for them. And the rest of the time is to practice bodhicitta. And they are the most blissful individual who could say that without a doubt. Have nothing other than their own bowl, but the most blissful, experiencing the most happiness in the world.
So this may be, I'm curious about something that happened in the past. So I was with a teacher and we were on the East Coast and he was saying prayers and I asked his attendant what was happening. And he said, oh, he's giving away everything in his mind, he even though it's not his possessions, he's practicing. Would that be bodhicitta? He was practicing with the bodhicitta because if he owned all this, and I didn't know if he was, kind of pointing at me or if it was a general lesson, but it seems like that this would relate to this, correct? I never,
Okay.
Yeah.
Kunanyama Divicholia began East Coast and the beach and the early Shamu or so what. Great about it. I think the Sunju to you. Limited the community, the Chinese and the Kundu Shendai Sung Dosa. Shendai Sung to the Balian, Kong and the conditions in the make and Shantideva, the Shavishu Chorva, or Konokan Shirakaria, Kononi, that the Shendai and that sort of shit. Patient Tonin Cement, I am in Chazapa, the blue don't you to some curses of Tamje. I am simply a move or a simply Shamar. Yeah, move will make that he conducted the teaching 20. You do those did to some those. It's a just in your matter less. They just in your matter. So say you make the contact higher of the Chazap, but you shan't tambour this one.
re te tanda kazungo so tanda de tsang le de ro kazungo so tanda le de da ge le dang no je tang ge wa de so che ba na se je ko la ta wa na de so ta ba pe wa se ka do ya ane so so ge le dang lo je dang so so ge de ne de so na sa ge za yong zo ane yen le ya je dong wa ngui so dong sen pe wa ta ma de dong sen pe ane shuo le ngune ba ge so so yen le ngui so dang tu ya ge ngi ba tane ni yo be kare tane so so le chen yen ta ya o to so ma ro so de pa chen tu na ni jimi pa chen na le ka de le yo so ma ta jang ju sen be ge na le cha de yo ro o to se
This certainly is the practice of bodhisattva. Giving everything, imagining that giving everything to others.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, so just like that, we are on this fourth verse that already says here, giving away to all sentient beings your body, your position, and your good gains in the past, present, and future. So good gain here refers to our virtuous quality that we may have gained from the past, present, and future. And so this is one of the core practice of bodhisattvas.
Okay.
First we began to practice imagining that we are giving away everything to others, including one's body. Although that for the initial practitioner, we may not be able to give away one's body, one's position, and so on and so forth. As an initial practitioner, we're on the starting point, so we may not be able to do that. Well, by familiarizing with such practice, and when eventually you develop such a extraordinary courage, and you become so courageous that then you will come to a point that even your part of your body, you are willing to give delightfully, that you will be able to offer to others. And this is such practice and realization can develop within us. So those are the very good practice. And this practice belongs to the first six perfections, the practice of the first six, practice of the, in other words, the practice of generosity. So that's a practice of six perfections,
Right.
which begins with the practice of generosity. So this particular practice belongs to the practice of generosity.
So it was actually a lesson. He was,
Yeah.
okay.
It is-
I'd never heard anybody discuss it before.
He's saying he thought it was a lesson. So I thought I heard you saying that it's more than a lesson, that it's also a
Oh,
practice.
Practice.
oh, yeah, no,
Practice.
yes. It's Rato Chungwa. So,
Oh.
yeah, so he was,
Raju Chandra,
yeah,
oh, yes.
yeah, so it was an actual, wasn't casual. I knew it wasn't casual, but I didn't know how to talk about it because I've never heard of the practice before. So thank you.
You have a question? Oh, anyone continue?
I'm interested in clarification on Rinpoche. Self-grasping and self-cherishing are two culprits, and they directly in alignment or correlate with the selflessness of phenomena and selflessness of a person. And my question is, are they mixed together? Are they the self-grasping and self-cherishing? Are they the same nature that results in the attachment to self, the attachment to the phenomena, or the attachment to the person?
Okay.
Or do they work together? Are they interdependent, or each one is a cause for the specific?
I got it, yeah.
What's the question?
Can you repeat the questions once again? We
Um,
want to hear.
I just wanted to know the correlation between self-cherishing and self-grasping in context to selflessness of phenomena and selflessness of person.
Oh, thank you.
이게 교대에서 당신들은 단전처럼 디니기 개발하려고 해서 준비되시. 전쟁의 단전이 군이야면에 비례를 해서 당전의 전쟁이 전쟁의 단전 이게 그것을 그래도 나도 준비 전부 다 아니야. 더 최다다 다 본다 디스고서 거나 당신이 디니 개발을 해서 가르쳤다. 그럼 나도 좀 지대셔 봐. 지대되는데요. 在先去香港大的是两个人怎么学了吧？你给他当真的真正的真正把那个在开发考虑来写了不行，这个是他讲的，很多学习了。
다 담보 강사 단지 들어 강사가 단지 취 단지 니로와 다 거니 가와래 단지 임베 찍바체 로와 강사가 단지 세테 나다 나요와 라주지 나다 나요와 강루를 문이 나바 난지 비시르 녀모 쳇서거래 자자 라주지 나다 나요와 강루를 문베 는 나바 난지 되게 시르 녀모 쳇 드나지라 강사가 단지 서거래 자자 다 취지 단지 세야데 아니 라다 타디 pomba kawa da ra khaji la soba taso chu taso ana dadan zimbi batala chu dan sala wo ro konin gaware a dan zi be chik pa che ro ana ko jide ngada ngayo wa dang di ni zang ko ro kansa sa de ro ngayo sa ngai mu ngai na o taso de dadu ban zo de ngada di ni zang ko nga sa de kansa ro 다당하다 강사석도 제가 나당 지니 아니 다도 번 정도 선보 강사가 단스를 해온 거래 나다 만지요 또네 아니 바기 본바다 까와라서 봐 근데 저러 나다 만지요 또네 저들 취 단스를 하고 그래 아니 가가지 되니 단스당 진짜 세기도 저당 가가래 이내 단다 건들 रानी चिंस गुबा कुंजी को से आता दांत से आते निजा दे क्यों चल चिबा जी से होंगे दा रान चिंस ते माँ दा रान चिंस ते कांसा का दांत के टांजले होंगे वाह रान चिंस से आते चला ये नहीं दा रान चिंस ये ना अने कर सकते ना रेदा पेना तंबू चांचू से राजू लंग तो चे तेनी देशोलिया दाम बेतावालिया डोंत चिंगे चुरो चांचू समा ऑन तु चुरो ते जोगी चांचू से जुर चे उंदे रां चिंज यावा तो तारे इनेया दांज योंगु योरे रो इने दा दांज येना रां चिंज योबि माच रां चिंज येना दांज यो छोगरे कोंचे बंदवा रो रां चिंज येना दांज यो छोगरे रां चिंज येना रांचिंज योना दांजे योबि छग मारे रो इने दा दांजे के ठाम भी रांचिंज योरे रो रांचिंज ते मां दांजे ठाने ले योरे रो रांची बंसे ज्यादा रां तावचिम बंसंगे रो रां तावचिम बंसतान दे kana ताकि छि देंबर टू बंडो जिन्नांग नि तने शिबक ताबत देंबर टू जि किचिम शुजन जम गरो 그다음에 아주 또 배치하고는 되는 간다 그냥 파워트 교리야 전쟁 여러 가지야 전쟁 여러 단지 여러 나 다좀 보들 단지 여러 말해 전쟁 여러 여러 어때 so now here it's a long answer. Good question too. But then now grasping at self and grasping at phenomena are mutually exclusive. They have although both of them are grasping an inherent self, an inherent phenomena. So when it comes to the grasping at self, it's self-grasping. It's something that grasps onto self or mind. But then the other one is grasping at other phenomena. It's other than self or mind. So that means, and those two graspings are mutually exclusive.
They are, okay.
Okay, the difference is two. And then when it comes to self-cherishing mind, again here, someone who has a self-cherishing mind It doesn't mean that person has a self-grasping mind.
Mm.
It cannot, there's, for instance, if you look at the Shavaka arhats,
Mhm.
arhats of Shavaka or practical Buddhas,
Mhm.
they do have self-cherishing mind, yet at the same time, they have realized that selflessness, so they do not have self-grasping mind, but they do have self-cherishing mind. And also, if someone possesses self-grasping, that doesn't necessarily that the individual will possess self-cherishing mind again.
Mm.
Let's take a bodhisattvas on the path of accumulations. The bodhisattva who actually, generated bodhicitta, who is on the path of accumulations, a small path of accumulations. Such bodhisattvas has already uprooted self-cherishing mind.
Mhm.
Yet at the same time, they do possess self-grasping mind.
The subtle.
Yeah, bodhisattvas. So if one, in brief, if one is able to get rid of self-cherishing mind, it is not necessarily that you can get rid of self-grasping mind.
Mhm.
So if one is able to, get rid of self-grasping mind, that is not necessarily that you can get rid of self-cherishing mind.
Mhm.
So I'm a bit confused,
Um,
because I thought I understood that the remains of um, a self-cherishing mind remained even beyond the path of seeing, and that they were not completely stilled until one accomplished the path of no more learning, and that there were those remnants that those bodhisattvas at that level are still trying to uproot. Did you get the question?
Yeah, bodhisattvas who are on the first path of
Yeah,
accumulation.
beyond the path of accumulation. They may have achieved the path of seeing, and they have no self-grasping, but there are remnants of self-cherishing there, I thought I understood.
Okay. 그 그런 근데 고단지에는 근데 장선 통합을 봐. 통합이 교내 지금 신진기 그 거소를 지금 어떤 하마소를 쓰니까 이 박시소 주의를 기대시에도 고대셔서 봐. 전지 선거도 유연한
전에 통합이 줄라.
신진기 박시 그러면은 시를 쓰면은 신진 박시 내연하기가
진짜 바자다 뉴몽 샤베 바자는 여러와.
박시 되게 저거
그래 뉴몽 샤베 바자데 요서 그래. 다 진득 시베 바자 요 저거래 돼. 진득 시베 바자데 진득 말와.
So remnants of the self-cherishing mind is not a self-cherishing mind.
그런 진득 있는 로 이거래. 바자 있는 로만 이거래. 네바 이거래.
So the remnants, are you really talking about some kind of propensity?
Mm.
Is that what you mean? So there's a difference between the propensity and the actual self-cherishing mind. The self-cherishing mind is the law. It is a law. But the remnants or the propensities are not the law.
Sure. So if one, at least from, let's say, from a Yogacara view, if the mind is mixed with advantageous stains and the nature the quality, the pure nature, and one gets rid of self-grasping, then self-grasping is dropped first. It seems like that one's kind of, seems to be more free of the afflictive negative qualities. Whereas the self-cherishing seems to be more of a subtler in my mind, but I'm not 100% sure. But it seems like the self-cherishing seems to be more subtle
okay.
in the sense of the obscurations to cognition.
God those David Kavira. And the Jinjin Nichevina. Jinjin the test tower, you sort of told those of them. Tarak, Chavara Sherina. Jinjin Shurma. Jinjin the best tower, Mendos. Tanzin the Rao Mendos. Go. Jinjin the shares, again. Go. Shiri kun stop in the Mendos. The Koran the Pore. And there's some Koran in this knowledge common.
Redat, they shan and the war, Jinzi said, that and the Jinzi said, Yaya, the Ranchi went to be Jinzi the Rawa. Just then the Jinzi de Rawa, then the Jinzi de that's all the Bachimbi Chanchu Sejonge, legend the Panu Gurua, or Danzi de Yaratsoget or Patu Gurua, then the Chani, young Ranchi the Tashan and Rumado.
So in one way, one could say this self-cherishing mind is a subtle than the self-grasping mind.
Mhm.
But if you really debate, then there's a lot of competition will arise, and a lot of questions there.
Mhm.
Because the reason why this is saying this is why this is really subtle than self-grasping mind is because the self-cherishing mind can only be overcome or only be eradicated by means of, self-cherishing mind is by means of, generating bodhichitta.
Mhm.
So self-grasping can, self-grasping can be eradicated by even in the lower practitioners such as Shabak and Pratika Buddhas.
Mhm.
So if you look at it in this way, self-cherishing mind looks a little bit subtler than self-grasping mind. But if you really debate that, it's a lot of good, competition in there.
Mhm.
In a Nibat Kamandora, and Ombo Notogana show in the Chinese Massacre, Ombo Noboto to Mongolia, and Yotombani to the Nitishulia, Chinese Jordan by Young Churwa, the Soviet Mongolia, Tombani used to change that Pondo Yorwa. What the name? Tajidun Nibat Kamandora, Dako, so to Shanicharish. Kahilia done the Pala, Kahila ranking the Pala, Chilway.
It is not necessarily when some practitioners gain realization in emptiness or selflessness, can eradicate the self-cherishing mind, and then vice versa. It's not. There's no such necessary or certain
Yeah.
that when one realizes the selflessness, not necessarily be able to get rid of self-cherishing mind and so forth.
Mhm.
So it is, there are again some practitioners who have gotten rid of self-grasping mind, but still have self-cherishing mind. And there are some cases that self-cherishing mind has already been eradicated, but self-grasping mind is still there.
So get rid of both of them would be the
Danzig Tambi Rankin to the Danzamapa Pansak Marwa. Danzig Tambi Rankin to Jura. To the Danzamapa, Danzig Rankin the Pansak Mare. Tamu the Chumic Condamata, you will Ponsade, Danzig Tambi Rankin, Danzamapa the Pansak Mare.
So then also there are self-cherishing mind that is derived from self-grasping mind.
Really?
Yeah, that's also a self-cherishing mind. There's a self-cherishing mind that derived from self-grasping mind. And such self-cherishing mind cannot be eliminated until the self-cherishing mind, self-grasping mind is eliminated.
Wow.
Kapangla nyimbo tene pangrwa. Cha danza pangla dame to bishira nyimbo chine pangudu. Yang modu majo ata pangman kakarwa.
So those need to be eliminated by relying on a specific antidotes
Mhm.
or the particular antidotes, which really becomes a remedy to this mental afflictions. It belongs to this part of mental afflictions.
Mhm.
So, which is the wisdom relative selfness, and so wisdom relative emptiness.
Can you say that last part one more time?
Wisdom that realizes emptiness or selflessness.
And that's the remedy?
Yeah, that's a remedy.
Wisdom, you're, sorry,
Wisdom realizing emptiness.
wisdom is emptiness?
Wisdom realizing emptiness.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Emptiness of lack of independent arising.
In it, yeah.
That as a total, when you say emptiness, it's emptiness with all the interdependency and the lack of independent arising, correct?
That's
That would be the full,
This is,
kind of?
yeah.
Okay.
I have a question about self-grasping, very short. So it feels like eating, we're eating, we want clothes, we want all the good facilities for good health. Is that kind of self-grasping or self-cherishing?
So, Maharaj, the words and the career. So you go higher, but the young for the do law and cheap. So there's a convert and check on that. You lay the soil on that you wish you could work was the day the shed down on the day could share to get the dancing. She wants on she would chasing, she wants on she would.
Tena ngozo penjono tun dungu chede dra.
Oh, good. To water.
Tanda mombo chidan dide ra. Chenze tayan dide gore, danze tayan dide gore, tanze tayan dide gore. Kanda ngozo chi rang chi badbi chenze ka wangi sosolo tsoya ka gunga mombo chi yung gore. Te rang chenze taya tani chi bagi dadadbi denze ki tan tozo yung de gore. Soso tuwe rinpo chi deya ka tanze ki juniya le gore. Ta kanda sotama haru paru chi mombo chidan dide le daya chire.
So there are many myths of that, you know. When we, everything that we think that we need are all at this point mixed of self-cherishing mind, self-grasping, or attachment and permanent view of permanent of eternalism. So those are all coming into being there. But then, you know, if one really think of how we can get rid of those, and even though that we need something that the way we are, you know, way we achieve those, you know, resources can be, you know, lack of self-motivated in others.
You need to go.
Yeah.
Tachi da tsayin zaro.
So we should say the dedication prayers, 23 and 24, and beginning of page 28. Dagi jine sape
Gewa de de dan rowa gala gambe Cheba Jose Lozan Trabaye, Tembe Nimbo Rendo Saji Sho. Chonshe Medo Tang Rira Neji Ninde Jeba. Sanje Yindo Munde Bawaye, Roge Nanda Yina Jebara Sho. Yanda Lama Dan Rame Juche Bela Lonje. Satan Lanju Yede Radone. Daje Changi Gobo Dojo. Rana Menda Lagane Yataya Me. Raden Je Naga Tele Jojo Jibada. Lozan Tembe Dreme Sasunji. Roye Mese Tado Denjuroji. Kowe Jengosu Pedan Dewa Malu Juve. Chere Zawa Denze Jansoye. Yabe Sede Bado Denjuroji. Cheta Chembada Gondo Zambo Deyan Deyende. Teda Gunji Jesu Daluji. Gawa Deda Tanje Radongo. Jesan Jebe Jawa Tamjeji. Ngowa Gangla Chodo Ngabade. Dagi Give Tawa Degunji. Zambo Jeje Radongo Waji. Thank you.